So we have entrepreneurs in the room, we have investors in the room. How many community leaders do we have in the room? All right, we have, yes, very, very good, very good. So the goal of CannaGather overall, whether it's CannaGather New Jersey, New York, Florida, wherever we go, the goal is to educate the community. $1 billion industry is being birthed in New Jersey. This is your opportunity to get educated, to meet your potential business partners in the room. I have had much success over the last 2 years attending events, meeting people, and meeting the partners that are going to get me to the next step. But we also have community leaders in here like Lien. Lien is from Jersey City. She's going to introduce herself. But we're joining forces with community leaders because we want them to have a full understanding of what this industry means and how it's going to fit in Jersey City, Hoboken, wherever we're going to take it in New Jersey, wherever it's going to be available. Okay? So with that said, the way these events typically run, if you're new to this, we do some networking, which you guys did a phenomenal job at. I saw a lot of energy in the room. The other thing we do is we do news and events, which is going to be with Lien. And then we have a series of speakers come up to educate you on different parts of the industry, okay? And then at the very end, you don't have to leave yet. Well, maybe today, because we're running late. But you don't have to necessarily leave. After hours is when you get to meet the people that could be potential partners, subject matter experts that can help you in the space. So stick around, rub elbows. That's where you get the real quality time with folks in the room. So with that said, I want to introduce Lien Hazen. Give her a hand, please. So a lot of people are from Jersey City. So how many people from Jersey City know Lien? All of you. They're all following you. They're all following you. So we joined forces with Lien and Chickpea JC because she's a leader in the Jersey City community. I myself am born and raised in Hoboken, so I'm part of this community as well. So we joined forces with her as a community leader to make sure that Jersey City and Hudson County and all of North Jersey is getting the appropriate education. And we want to hear from you. We want to know what you want to hear on a monthly basis because we will be here on a monthly basis. So with that said, I'm going to pass it over to Lien.
Hi, everyone. How you guys feeling tonight? Come on, give me some more energy, you guys. So my name is Lien. As Ronnie mentioned, I run a Jersey City blog called Chickpea JC, which I started about 4 years ago as a hobby. We write about everything going on in Jersey City: food, art, music, culture, lifestyle, sex, dating, everything. Everything. Now, I was born and raised in Montreal, Canada, which recreational use of cannabis was recently legalized. So go Canada! Yeah. So I'm excited to be here tonight. Now, I made it known publicly about 3 years ago that I was a supporter of the legalization of marijuana when I published an interview with High Times editor and former Jersey City Heights resident Bobby Black. Do you guys all know who Bobby Black is? Yeah? No? Nobody knows here who Bobby Black is? All right, Google him. Since then, I've used my platform to educate the local community on cannabis from a business perspective, socioeconomic perspective, and, well, it's a really fun way to have fun on a Friday night. Don't you guys agree? Yeah, yeah. Come on, tough crowd. Is this thing on? All right. Now, on to the serious side. Personally, cannabis has actually saved my life. After I had my daughter, I suffered from postpartum depression, and I didn't know what was going on with me. I felt like it was the end of the world. And so I went to seek help. And the therapist, psychiatrist prescribed me various antidepressant medicine. And I'm the type of person, I don't even take an Advil when I have a headache, so I thought that there must be a better way to help myself. And I found a mommy group online that promoted the use of cannabis to help cure postpartum depression. After 2 years of not using, I started using again, and I felt much better. I felt like the cloud literally lifted up, no pun intended. Anyways, I'm honored to be here today amongst industry experts to learn more about the business behind the cannabis industry and hopefully push the agenda forward for the legalization of use in New Jersey and Jersey City, which is my wonderful home. Yeah. All right, now to some news. Yesterday, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved the first cannabis-derived drug for sale, which is shown to control seizures in children with life-threatening form of epilepsy, which is huge news. This is not so great, but anyway. A board of physicians that acts as gatekeepers to the state's medical marijuana program rejected a proposal to add opioid use and withdrawal as a qualifying condition, This is scrapping one of the country's first attempts to combat opioid abuse with cannabis, with patients say cannabis helps withdrawal symptoms. In a written testimony, several people told the board that marijuana actually helped them quit opioids, where no other treatment plan or medication had previously worked. Cannabis, they say, had saved them from zombie hazes, addiction, and even death. Now on to business and banking. U.S. Senate panel balks at cannabis banking bill. The Senate Appropriations Committee voted 21-10 to sideline an amendment that would have offered protections for financial institutions that open bank accounts for legal cannabis firms. The move follows the recent defeat of a parallel amendment in the House last week. That's left many banks sitting on the sidelines and countless cannabis firms locking away millions of dollars in backroom vaults. All right, Mythbuster. Federal government reports teen marijuana use in Colorado still has not increased since the legalization. A new federal report shows rates of teen marijuana use in Colorado have still not increased since voters decided to end marijuana prohibition in 2012 and start regulating it similarly to alcohol for adult use. All right, so CannaGather has a few events coming up, right, which I'm going to announce them. But before I do that, if you are currently on your phone, please follow at ChickPJC. We are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, MySave, all that shit. So please follow us. ChickPJC, ChickPJC, if you want to stay up to date on what's happening in Jersey City and Hudson County. All right, event news. July 15th, please join us just across the bay from Atlantic City as we bring policymakers, politicians, cannabis industry experts, and friends together for a little friendly competition at the Linwood Country Club. For those of you who don't play golf, please join us for cocktails as we celebrate the winners in full view of the Atlantic City skyline. Did I miss anything, Ronnie?
No, you're straight. Thank you very much.
Okay, wait, we have another one. July 17th, join us at CannaGather NYC to learn from Jason Drazen, founder. Wait, I think I missed
Marijuana doctors.
And that's it, right?
Yes.
All right, I'm Lien, also known as ChickPJC. Thank you guys for having me. Have a great night.
Thank you, Chick-P. Thank you, Lynn. So before we get started with the education portion, we want to thank some of our sponsors. So some of them are going to come up here, tell you a little bit about their business. One of the things we do at CannaGather is we want to make sure we're mobilizing entrepreneurs by giving them a platform to share their business and also connect them with resources in the room that they may be able to use to scale their business and grow their business. So we're going to get started first with the Medicine Men. Medicine Men? The Medicine Men are from Jersey City. Yes. And they will introduce their CBD company.
What's going on, guys? How are you? My name is Greg Bader. I'm the founder of the Medicine Men. I am a New Jersey native. We are a local Jersey City CBD company. I know you guys are behind, so I'm just going to make this short and sweet. I have over 10 years of cultivation experience and farming experience out in Northern California. So we decided to bring our company to New Jersey, educate people on this product and on this industry. This way we can provide people with just an alternative, holistic source of health. So that's it, man. We have a lot of good products over. Come check us out. Thanks to you guys at CannaGather. Thank you, Lynn, for setting all this up.
Where can they find you?
They can find us on Medicine Men Remedies at gmail.com, Medicine Men Remedies on our website, and also The Medicine Men on Instagram.
Great, thank you very much. We'd also like to call up another sponsor. Without the sponsors, these events aren't possible. Unfortunately, the venues aren't free. So let's have up Woah.
Thank you. My name's Matthew Kutch. I'm CEO of Woah. Woah is a group of friends that saw the opportunities that the cannabis industry could bring to social justice, economic growth, and personal wellness in New Jersey. Now, we strongly believe in the medicinal capabilities of cannabis, and we are looking to bring free access to all patients. It's interesting that in New Jersey, a state that once was crippled by regulations now has the opportunity to become basically the model for the Northeast cannabis industry. And New Jersey needs it. It is our responsibility to New Jersey to bring all of the benefits of legal cannabis to the communities, and that to show the rest of the industry that they don't have to worry, that Jersey's got this. Legal cannabis is going to build and revitalize our communities, and it's going to bring social justice to so many New Jerseyans that have been persecuted for way too long. It's also going to bring employment, business opportunities, as well as a higher quality of life for so many that are suffering, in pain, need relief. Now, by the way, cannabis is the fastest growing industry in the modern times, and this is our time. Sorry about that. So basically, this is our time. Cannabis is changing the world in front of our eyes, and Woah is here to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. No, it's too loud. My voice is a little too loud. And then we'd also like to thank Eaze, which is one of our sponsors. Eaze is in the building. There you go. Thank you very much.
All right. How's everyone doing tonight? All right. This is great. So my name is Laurent Crenshaw. I'm the Senior Director of Government Affairs for Eaze. And that's EAZE.com. If you haven't heard of us, hopefully you will soon here in New Jersey. We are a cannabis technology delivery platform. We work with local dispensaries to facilitate the delivery of your cannabis to you in 20 to 40 minutes. We are in California. We are the fastest growing cannabis technology company within the state right now. And we want to bring everything that we're doing there here to everyone here in New Jersey. And so what we need you to do is we're continuing to move forward here. You know, let your rep know, let your state senator know that you want delivery, home delivery included in it, because it can be done in a safe, reliable, and compliant manner, and that's what we do. We do all of that through our technology platform and still give you hundreds of options, whether it's edibles, whether it's flower, whether it's drops, and a lot of other varieties, and we can get it to you in a quick and timely manner that still complies with all of the rules and regs that the state's looking at doing. So really happy to be here at CannaGather tonight. Thanks for having, and I hope you're going to see a whole lot more of Eaze all across New Jersey.
We have other sponsors that participated in this event to help us make this happen. So we have Solis Tek going to come up a little bit later, but NJ Cannabis Solutions, are you in the building? Where you are? If you have any questions about his company and his organization and what they're doing in Union City, feel free and walk over to him and speak to him after the event. Green Passion Industries, are you in the building? There you go. They're a CBD manufacturing company. Please reach out and speak to them if you have any questions. Is CannaContent in the buildings? There you go. They're a New Jersey-based company as well. If you have any questions about cannabis content or how to push your message forward, that's the guy to speak to over there. And then Cat's Eye Security, are you in the building? Security is a very, I don't know if they made it. Did they make it? Oh, they're in the back? So if you look way in the back, that's Cat's Eye Security. They handle all of your security needs. They work with various companies in the industry. So if you have any questions, she has some literature that she can pass out to you. So feel free and reach out to her if you have any questions around your security needs in the cannabis space. So let's get started with the education portion. We're going to kick it off with my partner, Leo Bridgewater. Does everyone know Leo Bridgewater? Yeah. He usually tells people, I humbly tell you to Google me. It's a very popular man. So Leo's going to come up. He's going to be talking with Jeff Brown. Jeff Brown is with the New Jersey Department of Health, handling the medical marijuana program. So Leo's going to take a hand with this part of the presentation, and then we're going to have about a 5-minute Q&A at the end. So if you guys have any questions, I'm sure we have a lot of patients that are in the room or clients that are in the room of the cannabis industry. Just at that point, we can take some questions. So with that said, Leo, kick it off.
Okay, everybody. First of all, again, my name is Leo Bridgewater. As a lot of you know, just out of curiosity, how many people in here actually know me from being in the tribe? Okay. So y'all would admit we're a little light tonight. It's a lot of people that should be here that's not here. Okay? The reason why I asked that is because I am introducing my tribe to my state. You know, I've been talking about this for quite a while now in terms of where we are at this time in time. And where we are is that we are the only ones, everybody in this room are the only ones who will ever experience the end of prohibition on cannabis in New Jersey. Now, I'm one of 3 veterans who testified in Senate committee to get PTSD added to the state's medical marijuana program. And in September of 2016, Governor Christie signed our bill into law. Since then, and before then, as the tribe knows, we was working on this for a while. It was a long, hard fight, but we got it through. Now, at this point, we've been telling you, Ronnie and I have been telling you guys, we're going to make this happen. Well, now here it is. Now, tonight, we were able to bring to you the assistant commissioner for the New Jersey Medical Marijuana Program, Jeff Brown. Jeff Brown, now, for those of you who don't quite understand what this means, if you're someone who's getting ready to apply for getting ready to apply for a medical marijuana license when that window opens, more likely your application is going to go past his eyes. So it don't get no straighter from the horse's mouth than right here. And I've been telling all of you for a long time that it's go time. Actually, it was go time a while ago. And while I have everyone's attention, I'm going to say this very publicly. You're welcome, New York. You're welcome. Yup, you're welcome. Because you're not going to let us get away with this for very long. So we just fast forwarded the whole conversation. You're welcome. With that, I'm going to ask Mr. Brown to please join me up here so we can talk about, what's happening with the New Jersey Medical Marijuana Program. Everyone, please give a round of applause for Mr. Jeff Brown, Assistant Commissioner for the New Jersey Medical Marijuana Program.
Mic check 1, 2.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Jeff Brown, New Jersey Department of Health, Assistant Commissioner for the newly elevated Division of Medicinal Marijuana. Want to thank you all for being here. This is an incredible crowd. To be honest, I wasn't sure what to expect when Leo invited me, but it's incredible to see the passion and just the interest in this industry. And our interest at the Department of Health is really ensuring that New Jersey's patients who rely on medicinal marijuana have access to high quality, affordable medicine in the most innovative forms possible. So I want to thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming. Jeff, this is the industry as we see it in physical carnet, but it's not reflective of the industry outside of the state of New Jersey. And in terms of the New Jersey Medical Marijuana Program, when you look at the expansion that was EO6, Executive Order number 6 from Governor Murphy, how in tune to the social impact is the New Jersey Medical Marijuana Program?
Very much so. So we actually, what Leo was referencing, we released a report based on Governor Murphy's Executive Order number 6, which directed us to look at the medicinal marijuana program, figure out ways to make it more accessible to patients, reduce regulatory barriers to entry to the market, make it more affordable, get more physicians involved. And so the Department of Health put out a report after 60 days that detailed the actions, 3 things: immediate actions we were going to take, actions we were going to take through regulation, and then recommended actions to be taken by the legislature. And so some of the things we did immediately, which helped patients, we reduced registration fees by half for everyone in the program. So it was $200 every 2 years. That's now reduced to $100. Additionally, we expanded the people who qualify for a $20 fee every 2 years to not only those on government assistance, but also veterans and seniors. And right now, 55% of the people in the program are only paying $20 every 2 years, which is exceptional. Additionally, there are now 6 alternative treatment centers in New Jersey. The 6th opened. Leslie's there. I saw Shia from Harmony. So we did that. We're allowing all of the 6 alternative treatment centers to open satellite locations. Obviously, there's probably a lot of people here interested in sort of expansion in the form of new permits and licenses and that sort of thing. We are in the process of undertaking an extensive needs assessment to figure out, what does our patient population expansion look like? how many alternative treatment centers are we going to need, at the end of the year? How many are we going to need next year? That sort of thing. And I think that's going to inform what we do in terms of a request for applications. I can share here that we expect by the end of this week, we're going to have 25,000 patients in the program in New Jersey. So we know we will need additional access sooner rather than later. So that's something that we're considering. And I wanted to thank Assemblyman Holley, who I know is here, and all the leadership that we see in the legislature, both in terms of trying to help out with the medicinal program, but also the adult use side. We're just fortunate to have so many leaders who are in tune to trying to make this happen, both for patients and for the people of New Jersey.
You have a mixture here of patients and entrepreneurs. In terms of the industry, what is it that you would like the industry to know when it comes to the New Jersey medical marijuana program?
We're expanding. I mean, simply, right? Like, get ready. I think myself, the commissioner, everybody wants to see New Jersey be a leader, not only in terms of what we supply to New Jersey's patients, but also, I want to highlight medical research, right? Like Pennsylvania is getting a lot of press for what they're doing in their medicinal program in terms of research, but we have world-class medical schools here. We have world-class research institutions. And for all of you who are entrepreneurs and who are in the industry, I think it's incumbent to build partnerships with those institutions so that we can further medical research. Now that, federally, the Schedule I status of cannabis is a huge barrier to funding. We get that. So we kind of have to work around that. So, I would just put it out there to the entrepreneurs, build those partnerships with research institutions, because we want New Jersey to be a leader in that regard. We also want New Jersey to be a leader in terms of developing innovative products and solutions for our patients. Beyond just flower and which is obviously has great medicinal effects, but we need things like transdermal patches or the next generation, those sort of products on New Jersey's market. We have demand from patients, and there are patients in this room, right? Like, I hear from patients every day asking, well, oh, I had such and such in Colorado, I had such and such in California, why isn't it available here in New Jersey? I want them to be saying, in California and Colorado, I had this medicine in New Jersey, why can't I get it in Colorado or California? That's really what we want to have happen here.
I've had a couple of conversations with Governor Murphy. I remember when he was candidate Murphy, and we were talking, and he was talking about STEM and how important it is, in particular when it comes to the state of New Jersey. And so when we were talking, I was just like, yeah, man, you know what? Well, if you add A, like in art, then you got STEAM. And that encompasses the entire cannabis culture, sir. And he was like, really? And I said, yeah, I know some of the brightest minds in this industry. Actually, a lot of them are right here. So a lot of the things that you would hope to see, there are people sitting in this audience who actually have the answer and the platforms. The thing is just we're waiting for the word, and so, for all of you who are listening to this, hell yeah. Get ready. He said it. Hello? Yeah, he said it. Get ready. So again, like I said before, it don't get no straighter from the horse's mouth than what you getting right here. It's go time. It's not go time 6 months from now. It's actually go time 6 months ago. Hell yeah. And if you are not as tired as me and Ronnie are right now, because faces are bleeding together, half the time I don't even know where I'm at. But the thing is that's because we're working. And so, Jeff, I really appreciate you coming out. And I want to take a moment to get a couple of questions from the audience. If anybody has a quick question they'd like to ask the Assistant Commissioner for the New Jersey Medical Marijuana Program, Stu Zackham, everybody. Oh, Stu!
My big question, what are we going to do about the required visits to get your card? Are we going to reduce those because it's making it prohibitive for a lot of people who don't have the money to lay that out of pocket?
Yeah, great question. And so we've actually, oh, sorry. The question was right now in our medicinal marijuana program, and this is actually in the law, it's required that patients get recertified for use every 90 days to maintain eligibility in the program. And it's a barrier because a lot of times insurance doesn't cover these visits, and we're looking at, I think, you know, barriers on the insurance side for those visits, but at the same time, that means a patient with oftentimes a very debilitating condition has to go back to a doctor and shell out money every 3 months. That's why, you know, we've recommended at least moving that out to every 6 months, and we're thankful that in S10, which is the Senate medicinal bill, they actually do change that requirement to 6 months. But I think affordability is something that we hear loud and clear from patients, and something that we're have a keen eye on. I know, I have direction from the commissioner to keep looking at how to make the program more affordable to patients, and that's something I'd throw out to the entrepreneur community too. Let's figure out how to develop a very cost-effective product for patients, because this is something that right now is not covered by insurance.
Wait, hold on. Do me a favor. Wait a minute. We're not doing that here. I understand you feel some kind of way, but there's a thing called customs and courtesies, and we're going to adhere to that here. Now, this man is here at my behest. I asked him to be here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to show them that kind of respect, considering who he is. Okay? Now, if you have a feeling about the New Jersey medical marijuana program, there's a respectful way to do it. But the heckling and the yelling and all that stuff, that ain't going to happen here. Because we have to learn to listen to each other to understand rather than to just respond. As I said, this is go time. And what we don't have time, and understand something, this is not arrogance, this is urgency. That's what you're hearing right now. I keep saying it's go time, and I'm not trying to be funny. It's for real go time. So take this intel, figure out what you're going to do, and if I'm not mistaken, Jeff, in order for us to even help you, it's incumbent upon us to get in touch with our elected officials, right?
Well, I mean, I think that's piece of it, right? Like there's debates going on in both legislative houses right now on how to address changes to the medicinal program, how to address changes, legalization. So yes, work with elected officials certainly. One of the things we are looking at though that I think is will improve access to patients is home delivery, and that's something that we included in our EO6 report as something sort of additional consideration. Well, we've put out our first set of rules, which include our first round of reforms, and now we're looking at additional things like home delivery, like third-party lab testing, and things like that that could help, reduce costs in the program, improve accessibility, and that sort of thing.
Thank you. All right, anybody else have a question? You got the man right here. Right there, Ronnie.
Could you tell us how permits and what kind of permits you'll be issuing and how they'll be dispensed?
Yeah, sure. So one piece on that. I mean, I think there are things happening on the legislative side that we're monitoring that will have an impact on that ultimately. So you want to just look at the bills moving through the legislature. I think we've outlined in our EO6 report and in our proposed rules, where we ultimately intend to go and hope to go, which is to really break out the permitting process into an endorsement system where entities can either specialize in cultivation, in processing, sort of manufacturing those medicinal products, or dispensing, or a combination of the three. So, if someone wants to be, if an entity wants to be vertically integrated, fine. If they want to specialize in cultivation, manufacturing, fine. Or if they want to just specialize in sort of the customer angle and the dispensing, then that's great too. We think that that's most reflective of how the industry has evolved elsewhere in the country and internationally. And so we want to enable that to happen here in New Jersey, while not limiting specific businesses from coming in if they have some unique configuration.
Okay, I got time.
We have a question over here.
Last question.
Leo, we have a question over here.
Who's saying it?
Right over here.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Hi, yeah, can you hear me? Perfect.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, my name is Veronica.
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. I'm right behind you. Turn around, turn around. There. No, one more turn. One more turn. Hi, here I am. All right. My name is Veronica. I am here with and Jeffrey. We are representing Strictly CBD, which is a store we're opening this Friday at 580 West Side Avenue. Our grand opening at 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Please join us in Jersey City. Thank you, thank you. Yes. So my question is, one of our biggest challenges are banks and Foursquare and PayPal. They're not allowing us to open accounts because we are CBD. So what could you, if any, give us some form of advice, or what solution can we bring to the table with this?
The Department of Health doesn't regulate banking in any way, unfortunately. So, or fortunately for me. But I recognize that that's a challenge in the industry. I recognize, certainly when entities have to figure out funding, they're often looking to individual investors or small groups of investors, which can make things challenging. I think that rolls up into the whole host of problems, like limitations on research, the fact that health insurance won't touch it, the fact that hospitals don't know how to deal with patients that have medicinal marijuana, and that's the federal prohibition. And if it were up to me, I would say it would be descheduled tomorrow. But it's not up to me, clearly. So.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much. For the sake of time, we got to keep this program rolling. Believe me when I tell you, you are always welcome here. This door is always open. If you feel as though there is something we need to know as an industry, please, by all means, feel free to come back. Our door is always open and our ear is readily available. Thank you. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Good? Yep. All right, we're going to keep this moving. We're going to go on to the next educator. We're going to invite up Tanisha from MPX. Give her a hand, please. So unfortunately, the original speaker, Elizabeth Stavola, had a family emergency. She couldn't make it. Tanisha is one of the project managers for MPX Bio, and she's going to educate us on the company, some of the things she's done as an entrepreneur to get into the space, and then she has a little gift for you guys. Since Beth didn't come, she's going to send you guys home with some stuff today. So Tanisha, can you introduce yourself to us?
Sure, yes. Hi, my name's Tanisha Victor. I'm a project manager for MPX Bioceuticals Corp. We currently operate in 4 states, Nevada, Arizona, Maryland, and Massachusetts, 2 of which, as you know, are medicinal, and the other 2 are adult use. Okay, sorry. Yes, so we got into this space about 6 years ago. My boss, Beth Stavola, who's COO of MPX, started with 1 license on the border of Mexico, actually, in Douglas, Arizona. And she moved that license to operate it in Mesa, Arizona, and then at that point acquired 2 additional licenses, and that's where we started. As you know, they are a vertically integrated state, so we have a production and a cultivation attached to each of those. And then about 2 years ago, we started CBD for Life, which you're actually going to leave with a little something from us. I'm also a co-founder of CBD for Life. It's a hemp-infused pain management and beauty line. And so we've been doing that for the past 2 years, in addition to acquiring additional states as we go along. We recently, about a year ago, became publicly traded. We did a reverse merger into a Canadian shell. So we're very excited to enter, hopefully, the New Jersey market. And we just recently put in 8 applications to Pennsylvania. So fingers crossed. And we're waiting to hear back still on production for Ohio. Mm-hmm. Great.
Hello. So Tanisha, hello. We'll fix the audio next time. Tanisha, from what I understand, you also deal with the application process.
That's right.
We have a lot of entrepreneurs in the room who are wondering what that process looks like. What are some of the things they can do right now to get prepared? So can you give some of these entrepreneurs some tips on that?
Sure. So as you know, it's a pretty grueling process. It's lengthy. I would say, as somebody mentioned before, we should have probably started preparing already, but no worries if you have not. The first thing I usually do is lay good groundwork. So I collect resumes, bios of all the personnel and all the players that we know that we're going to have on the application. That's the first step that I'd say, and it's the most important. In that, you want, of course, actual diversity, and not people that you're just throwing on a license because you want to acquire a license. These are people that have actual equity in these companies. So, I noticed this in other rounds, and I'm not going to call out any specific companies, but I noticed this in a few rounds of, for instance, in Ohio, a few companies went in and were taking, let's say, an African-American woman because they knew that that would be an additional 75 points on their application. So they were using her, paying her a flat fee, and then just showing that as if she had equity, but in reality having a side agreement with her just for the purpose of the application, using her or him in some cases, on the application as if they actually do have equity in the company. So I'd say that that's the start here. As obviously, don't be pawned, though. I have friends that have been approached before, African-American females that work in our industry that have been approached by even a few different groups in New Jersey who've asked her to be a part of their application process and offered her a flat fee. And don't pawn yourself, basically, also is what I'm saying. So yeah, I got off on a little bit of a tangent, sorry that. So yeah, I would say that was the base work. Also, real estate is obviously one of the most important. That's going to be a tough one here because some of these areas are overly saturated with schools and churches and all of that. And, the towns do know that they have to start planning for that and possibly be issuing variances or whatever that may be. Once you're entering these agreements, though, when you have done your preliminary searches on the real estate and done all of your due diligence on the property, I'd say the most important thing is contingencies. You want long periods, you want long options. We do our options, out for a year, even if we know that the application process is going to be completed in 6 months. We know with Ohio, for instance, again, that wasn't the case. So I'd say that's also a very important piece to this. And you want to protect yourself. So back to contingencies, you want to make sure that, you purchasing this land or leasing this property or whatever it may be is contingent on you receiving licensure in the state, all final zoning approval and things of those sort. So I think that's a pretty important piece.
Tanisha, I have another question. We get me, Leo, all the people who are part of this movement. We get tons of emails about what's happening in New Jersey. Does there need to be some type of diversity plan? What are you hearing there? What do some of the licensee or potential licensees have to think about when they think about diversity programs, community work that they should be doing in their area?
Absolutely. We do, with my company, I know in Pennsylvania, we did something called a profit sharing, which is we went into impoverished areas where we plan to operate grow production, and we're offering 4% of net profit indefinitely. That's something that they like to see. Something, just giving back to the community, contributing to the community. They want you to see that you're hiring people in their community. You're not going to come in and outsource work. You're not going to come in and move people from other states. You're hiring within the community. You're supporting the community.
Did everyone catch that? So one of the key things you need to do, you need to be an active member of your community. One of the things that, yes? You're the only Indian here? How do you know I'm not Indian? I'm not Indian though, but I get it all the time. But the takeaway from Tanisha, if you are looking to get licensed in this space in New Jersey, it's come from Phil Murphy's mouth directly. Diversity is going to have to be involved. The industry is going to have to reflect New Jersey. We often see, if you look at statistics across the country, when it comes to the cannabis industry, the industry hasn't been too nice to people of color and women and locals. So what we want to do is, if you're getting into this industry, number one, you want to do some community work in your area, educate your local politicians, educate your local community leaders, and then in addition to that, you're going to want to pair up with a team that's going to have all the right features to help you get that license.
Agreed.
Yep. Now, we're a little short on time. Did you want to share with the crowd what Beth and you guys have in store for them as they walk out today?
Yeah, sure. So we threw a lip balm in there and our CBD for Life original rub. So it's really great for aches, pains. I even use it for migraines right on my temples. You'll have a little pamphlet in there describing our other products. And yeah, just you can check us out online. Yeah, great.
So on your way out today, as you leave, you'll find Chica. Chica, where are you? Chica has a pink shirt. She's all the way by the front door. As you leave, she'll hand you a bag for CBD for Life as a compliment. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, MPX. We appreciate your help.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
So Assemblyman Jamel Holley is working closely with the legislation of the adult use of cannabis. He's going to give you some updates, again, straight from the horse's mouth. He has all the information that we're looking for, all the questions that you need answered. So what you're going to want to do is we're going to let Mr. Holley speak.
Let's go, New Jersey! Legalization of marijuana in New Jersey 2018. You know, let me first recognize Leo Blackshear. Is he in here? But I want to commend all of you tonight who, can we just get quiet down for just a little bit of second? I'm just going to update you on the legislation that I'm working on here in New Jersey. I want to thank Leo Blackshear. I met him not too long ago in New York City, and he approached me about some of the things that he's been working on nationally and then here in New Jersey, and we connected. And one of the things that I wanted to do was have a Jersey gathering of individuals who were interested in the industry. What I will tell you is that in New Jersey, we will have legalization of marijuana. What I will tell you also is that it's going to take some time because we continue to need to flush through the legislation. And one of the things that I can tell you that I'm proud of, that the senator in the Senate, Nick Scutari, who you all know has been leading the charge here in New Jersey, has been very receptive to creating opportunity, social equity, automatic expungement opportunities, and business opportunities for minorities and women as well in this legislation. And I will tell you that also that we are working very daily on this issue in the State House I met with OLS, the Office of Legislative Services, 3 hours yesterday to go line by line to make sure that we get this legislation right. Fortunately, the budget and the legislature got in the way of flushing this legislation very, very fast because there was hearings that were scheduled to be, there were legislative voting sessions that individuals wanted to take, but the budget got in the way, and I believe that that's okay because we still need to get through flushing the legislation a little bit more so we get it right for New Jersey, and New Jersey could be a model for the United States of America. So I will tell you that shortly after this budget is adopted in the State House, over the next couple of weeks and throughout the summer, you will start to see that these hearings for legalization of marijuana will take place in the State House. As I mentioned to you before, I'm working very closely on this legislation with the Senate and the Assembly and the Speaker and the Senate President to ensure that we get the best model that we can lead not only the state, but it be the next best model for this country. I'm open to taking questions, and hopefully I can answer some of those questions. Thank you all for being here. You should give yourselves a round of applause for being here.
Is this on? Just a real quick question. Can you tell us about home grow? Is home grow in the legislation?
Currently, right now, there is no homegrown. I don't think that I'm not a supporter of homegrown. I am a supporter of the legalization of marijuana, but I think homegrown takes on a different animal in a sense. And I'm not saying that we will never get there, but in order for us to make sure that we do this right, maybe we grow into homegrown. In the beginning, let's do it right. Let's take a limited amount of license so that the economy is not saturated
as we've seen in some places, and let's do this right in New Jersey. I'm not saying homegrown is not in the future, but homegrown is definitely not on the table at this present time.
Okay, thank
Maybe
you.
let's grow into that. Over here.
I would just quickly say, please consider home grow. Washington State is the only state that doesn't have home grow. They still don't have it 6 years later. The other question I'd like to ask is about Ron Rice and where he is currently on this issue.
Sure. As I mentioned to you before, homegrown is not on the table right now. I think that's something that we can grow into, and as more studies we see and more stats that we continue to see, maybe that's something that we grow into. This is a growing industry. This has never happened before in New Jersey. So let us have benchmarks for the future. Then perhaps maybe homegrown will be something down the line. You know, when I entered the legislature 3.5 years ago, Ron Rice was someone who welcomed me in the State House. He was a veteran senator. Had been a former mayor prior to that. And Ron Rice, when I entered the assembly, was a great advisor to me. Ron Rice is the head of our legislative black caucus, and he has a difference of opinions right now as the legalization of marijuana. He chooses to decriminalize that. But one of the things that you won't see us in the black caucus doing is fighting with each other publicly on issues. We have respect for one another as black and African Americans in the black caucus. I will tell you that we can agree to disagree. But part of what I think this whole educational process has been for the legalization for marijuana for me is a learning lesson. And maybe Ron is not there yet, but we've had very sensitive conversations on, you know, his stance. He's a former cop, he's an attorney, so he comes from a different perspective. I've been a local mayor, I've been a local councilman, I'm a state representative now, and so we come from different walks of life. And so what I plan on doing now, as I see this big crowd and the people here today, is that I take this information and bring it back to my caucus to advise my fellow black caucus members, my African American caucus members, my members that are in my caucus. And hopefully maybe one day Ron Rice will get to the point of being educated enough that he will too agree that this can be legalized here in the state of New Jersey. Sure.
I want to know what level of involvement will people with criminal records be able to have when it comes to purchasing?
I can't see myself casting a vote for the legalization of marijuana if individuals who look like me and those who don't look like me are incarcerated and we're about to legalize it. I think there should be a level of opportunity for them as well, and that's included as well.
Also, you say, I feel like the Black Caucus has been somewhat of a leader in, not leader, but more so a kind of like a light has been placed on the Black Caucus because of this to progress this agenda. What do you feel, what research is needed in order for us to prove to, sorry, you mentioned his name earlier, Ron Rice, what data do you feel like is needed for him to look at in order to kind of just show him the facts and show him the proof and perhaps the numbers?
Right, and I think that's through education. We've had a lot of public hearings throughout the state of New Jersey, and from each one, we learned something. There's not a black cloud of the Black Caucus. There are members in the legislative Black Caucus who supports that. Ron Rice just happens to be our chairman, who's been very vocal. But the one thing I respect about Ron Rice is that had he not been bringing out some of these issues, we may not have been talking about it. And so sometimes in policy, and then sometimes in doing a very in-depth issue like legalization of marijuana, sometimes we need to cover the whole aspect and hear people's ideas. And that's the point of having these CannaGatherings. And I hope that we can continue these CannaGatherings time in and time in until this legislation is adopted. And even after that, because we talked about next steps. So this is an ongoing thing. This is about bringing people together at the end. I mean, you guys should give yourselves, I'm taking this event right here tonight back to the State House because this is about people wanting information and people wanting to hear opportunity about this industry. And so there's not a dark cloud over the Legislative Black Caucus. There are members that are supportive of this. But I think the issue with Ron Rice is that we probably need to educate him more. But again, we can agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, legalization in New Jersey of marijuana is going to happen. One more question?
When you talk about expungement, are you referring to just possession and minor crimes, or are you considering the people that have crimes for, or all the nonviolent marijuana crimes, including the distribution?
Good question. You talked about expungement and marijuana crimes. All levels of marijuana, possession, distribution, I think that's only fair and that's only right. I mean, if we're going to be doing this, you know, and moving forward, what we have in the particular language that I've been working on. I met with the Office of Legislative Service 3 hours yesterday just to go over line by line in terms of the legislation to make sure that we provide the legislators as much information as possible so that they know and feel comfortable with their voting on. I've been a councilman, I've been a mayor, I've been now a state representative, and I think that information is powerful for people. And so, yeah, all expungements. And this legislation that I mentioned to you before is all civil penalties moving forward. It's all civil penalties moving forward for individuals who are under 21, because this is again about 21 and over. But those individuals who are under 21, it's civil penalties, but also the opportunity to go to a drug education court or a drug court to get the help that they need at such a young age. So it's about the diversity and the totality of our community and what we're trying to do with this legalization. So thank you again for everyone who's come out. I think you all should give yourselves a round of applause. Continue to contact your legislators about the encouragement of the legalization of marijuana. And again, thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you.
Now for the final speaker. The speaker that we're going to introduce, thanks to them, we were able to have this event. Guys in the back, we have about 20 more minutes, then it's networking time. Just give us a couple more minutes. Thank you for your patience. We want to give a very special shout out to Solis Tek. Give them a big hand, please. Their entire team is here. There you go. Because of Solis Tek and companies like Solis Tek, we were able to have this event. And I'm going to invite up Alan and Kevin from Solis Tek to talk about their company, what they're doing in this space, what they're doing in New Jersey, and maybe some potential tips they can give you as you move forward in this space. So the folks in the back by the vendors, please give us 20 minutes. Please give us 20 minutes. Alan, how are you? Check. Good. So let's give a big hand for Alan and Kevin with Solis Tek, please.
How's everybody doing? Hi, my name is Alan Lien. I am the CEO of Solis Tek. We're a publicly traded company, currently trading on the OTCQB under the stock ticker symbol SLTK. We started as a lighting company about 10 years ago. And we've been in the industry for quite some time, and we've saw a lot of growth in the beginning. First year we did $1 million in revenue, and second year $3 million. Third year we did $5 million. Then we ran into cash flow issues. Obviously, growing too fast is also a problem too for a lot of businesses. But we started as a lighting company, and then we started to expand into all different kinds of different equipment to support cultivations and processing manufacturers. We got into organic and synthetic nutrients, rolling tables, greenhouses, and such, etc. So, and then now, we took the company public back in 2015, about 3 years ago. And I'll get to the part why we took it public. But we took the company public 3 years ago. And today we're actually about 6 months ago we actually changed our direction into just not touching the plant and on the equipment side and to touch the plant. And a big part of that, before the 2017, we marked a very clear demarcation line that we did not want to touch the plant as a company because we want to advance our company to be able to get into uplisting into the NASDAQ and NYSE exchanges, et cetera. But when Jeff Sessions came out and, made the statements that he made back in January, that, boo, it made the industry take more than a few steps back. So at that point, the SEC, the NYSE, the NASDAQ exchanges, they all basically told us, look, come back in 2 years. We're not going to look at any company, whether it's touching the plant or not touching the plant. Come back in 2 years and we'll talk. And at that point, not touching the plant, everybody was getting in, at that time, everybody is getting into the touching the plant business, all the investors, the industry, everybody's getting really excited about cultivation, processing, dispensary, and legalization in general into their state. So we decided to kind of change our direction a little bit because me and my team and I, after 10 years being in the industry, we've actually saw whether through gray area, black market, now it's everything's above board. We've saw good growers, bad growers, basement growers, small grows, big grows, mid-sized grows. We are able to go in there and really see what's inefficient, what's efficient, what they need, what they don't need, and kind of see how the entire marketplace kind of just transformed through the last couple of years, especially. Colorado and California, they started, I would say, probably on the wrong foot. They made a lot of mistakes that we don't have to make here in Jersey. And, by the way, I am a native born and raised New Jersey, from New Jersey. I've been here. I went to Monmouth University, after I graduated, went back, went overseas to learn about manufacturing and then moved to Los Angeles back in 2008. And, that's when I got into the marijuana industry, cannabis industry and such. So, through the years, we really, learned a lot through, the changes that has happened in industry. And I feel like being the lighting company, we are the people that are in the cultivations, especially, whether or not you own a dispensary, it all starts with cultivation, to bring the top quality products, top quality medicine, especially, it all starts from cultivation. Dispensaries can't sell good medicine without having the proper SOPs, having the proper know-how and knowledge on how to grow the best medicine, right? And then you have to grow good medicine to be able to process it into good oils as well. So it's all relative. It's a domino effect. If you can't do it right from the ground up, planting the seeds and really growing good medicine, it's not really going to, be good for the community, period. So I feel like through the years, getting in contact with, all the good growers, bad growers, operators and such, and I'll hand a microphone over to one of the best operators I know in the industry, period. We were able to pull together a great team to start getting into touching the plant. Right now, because we're a publicly traded company, I can't really share too much material information, but we are in Arizona right now working on a 70,000 square foot facility, all in one facility, 50,000 square foot of cultivation, 10,000 square foot of processing, and we're going to make sure that we bring the highest standard of testing to make sure for public safety that everybody can enjoy and consume, safe products. So, and the reason why I brought the company public, and for all the other entrepreneurs out there, back in 2014, because this is a big question that I get asked for all the time. Back in 2014, I was looking to raise money. Like I told you, there was cash flow issues. We were growing too fast, and you need capital to get where you want to go. 2014, that's when the first pot stock boom happened, when people had no revenue, zero revenue, $1 million, $2 million revenue that had enormous $500 million, $800 million valuations, which is ridiculous. And basically at that time, if you were an investor in public pot stocks, you basically you can throw a stick and see where it sticks and you'll make money, right? So at the time when I'm trying to raise money, I couldn't raise a dime as a private company. So every time I asked, would you invest in my company? This is my story. They love it, but are you going public? Are you going public? Are you going public? Finally, I looked at the pros and cons, and fortunately had a lot of friends around me that were in public markets. So I didn't, we managed to raise $3.5 million, or $3 million, without paying a single dime in broker fees, and we were able to, successfully go public via reverse merger. And it's been a struggle, at times in the last 3 years. It's a lot to learn. But we're here, and I think we finally put together a great team to be able to push this forward and build this platform and continue to build this platform, as a loudspeaker to speak for everybody else, speak for the community in how to bring cannabis in properly to the different states throughout the United States, especially New Jersey. And Jersey really holds something special in my heart because I am from Jersey, so I definitely want to bring cannabis properly into the state of New Jersey.
Alan, I have a quick from you. I have a quick question for you. We have a lot of individuals in the room that may not have the capital to get into the space, but they have skills in other areas. Can you talk about the opportunity, just like you took advantage of, the broader opportunity in the ancillary space when it comes to cannabis, being a service provider and supporting the industry and making your mark there?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question real quick?
Can you talk a little bit about the ancillary opportunities for some of the operators here?
Of course. The ancillary market is still a very huge and growing market. You know, just because we're touching the plant doesn't mean we're going to stop expanding our lighting operations or manufacturing lighting, because we definitely, you know, we design ourselves and manufacture and self-distribute all of our own products. And the reason why we do that is because we don't want to be a Me Too product, right? You know, I believe that there's always continuous improvement in anything that we do, whether it's equipment or, you know, SOPs in growing, quality of, you know, anything you do in cannabis, right? But from an ancillary point of view, I mean, there's still a lot of states that are still in the process of going, you know, passing legislation for legalization of cannabis, you know, and when you need to grow cannabis, you need different products and services. Whether, you know, it depends on what kind of skill set you are, and I'm trying to cover, you know, a pretty wide range of, you know, different entrepreneurs that can provide different services and products in this industry. But from, you know, I can share with you my experience is that, you know, there's always a nonstop demand for anything that you have to offer. And, you know, it's all a part of being, you know, continue to network in these kinds of events like CannaGather, and meeting new people to find out, you know, what the needs and wants, because there's always inefficiencies that can be better, right? So that has been my mission as a CEO of Solis Tek, is to always create better products and have an awareness of what's out there right now and what the inefficiencies are. So it's not just about being good at what you do or, you know, bringing in the best products of what you can bring in. It's about understanding what the needs and wants of the consumer are, whether it's a consumer from a medical patient or a recreational user or a cultivator or a processor. Everybody has their sets of wants and needs. You just have to figure out, you know, what they need and how to provide a better service or product for them.
Thank you. Oh my God. Thank you for that answer. We're going to have a little bit of Q&A at the end with Alan and Kevin together, but we're going to pass it along to Kevin. So Kevin, a couple of the speakers and most of us has said that you have to involve the community, you have to have some type of impact on the community. How does Solis Tek do that in a state when they come in? How do they have a positive impact on the community?
Great question. Let me give you a brief little background first before I step in. My name is Kevin Kate. I am the Chief Operating Officer of another publicly traded cannabis company called GB Sciences. We're primarily a biotech medical company that holds several patents in combinations, specific terpenes and cannabinoids that have specific medicinal benefits with certain disease aspects that we've tested mostly in vitro, but mostly patented compounds we've been able to do through a DEA license through Chaminade University, who has a DEA license, so we can actually have real patentable medical work done. Fenwick & West holds most of our patents, which holds Google and Pfizer and Apple and Facebook patents, so the work is legitimate, it's real. We're finally seeing the type of people looking at cannabis and the medicinal aspects of it that we need to validate and verify. I see you guys are antsy and ready to rock, so I'll keep my background short and brief, but I've operated in 5 different states now. I've completed 12 different state-licensed cannabis cultivation facilities, 6 different retails, 4 different commercial kitchens, and 3 different processing centers, and they're all still operational today. So I offer myself to you guys for you know, advice and any type of information I can offer later. I am speaking on behalf tonight of Solis Tek, who are good friends and partners of mine in the industry, and we both definitely have the same mindset going forward. So I'll open it up for Q&A if you guys have anything that is specific, especially to the regulatory environment or the publicly traded side, which Alan and I are both pretty well versed in. I know you got a question.
So the question a little earlier before we got your background was, what is Solis Tek doing to have a community impact? And I think people will learn from it. What can they do to have a community impact?
Absolutely. Well, I get this question a lot. So community impact as far as cannabis goes, because a lot of people view cannabis, especially in the states that aren't regulated yet, they view cannabis as a negative thing. They think that it's a drug, it's still Schedule 1. It will create a negative impact coming in and trying to create and regulate this thing, almost as the same thing we did with alcohol during Prohibition, right? So only thing I have to rely on is factual basis. I look back on states that first regulated. Look at Colorado, for example. They were one of the first ones that regulated to be recreationally legal, adult use, 21 and over. They treat it very similar to alcohol. Guess what? Every single area and location where they set up a cannabis cultivation or a processing center or a retail center, and I know this because I'm set up in Las Vegas, which has some of the strictest regulations in the country, is the scrutiny is ridiculous. The lighting, the security cameras, the on-guard security, the on-call security, the off-center security. Personally, we have 3 security companies that we have to acquire that aren't even hired by me. They don't work for me remotely. They're actually third-party security companies. So all of these things add up to require and provide a safer environment for people. So it's almost the same thing when you walk by a high school at night, right? There's a school there. Well, guess what? Now that there's a school, they have security lighting. They have a basketball court that's well lit. They have the front doors that are well lit. Cannabis cultivations are almost similar. Everything is lit. Everything is secure. This prevents thieves. This prevents crime. We've seen crime drop up to as much as 7% in certain areas in Colorado just when cannabis cultivations, processing centers, and retails came into spot. So I think it's a great argument for crime dropping and decreasing, and history proves itself. It's been a while. I mean, 2016 is not too long ago, but at least we have a couple years of data to look back on, right? So that makes sense. Community involvement. My first marijuana venture was in Arizona. About 8 years ago, I first got involved into that regulatory environment. And the first thing we did, because cannabis is brand new and we are trying to prove ourselves as a new industry emerging, that we're respectful and that we can do what other industries are doing and we might be able to do it better, we want to give back to the local communities we're in. That's an obvious first front runner for our goals, right? And anyone who's an entrepreneur knows that if you don't give back, you can't take. So first and foremost, the first thing we did, we had a firefighter that passed away in Arizona when we were first opening, and so we started a fundraising drive. Most of our patients, after 2 months, we had over $10,000 in dedication that we presented a local check to the firefighting department, and believe me, that was one of the smaller donations and one of the smaller fundraising drives that had happened. Colorado's second largest dispensary, I think, has raised over $100,000 for a nonprofit. Arizona, that was my first state I started in. And this is just a brief example, just so people can kind of grasp this concept. It was a random lottery. So the first license I ever won in marijuana, I put $2,500 down, did a background check, my fingerprints passed. It was a random lottery. They spun the Powerball thing on TV, and if the ball matched my license number, I won, and it was a lottery. Here it's not the same, and it shouldn't be that way. Here's why, because over 70% of the licenses in Arizona are now in litigation. You had mechanics, and you had personal trainers, and you had guys who own lighting companies winning licenses that had no idea, well, he does, but the other guys, they had no idea what they're doing to produce cannabis, right? So then you get all these people getting pissed off and fighting with each other. And so I believe that the best way to do that is a qualitative process. Nevada's a bad example because they were so strict. My application was 1,600 pages. They wanted full color art renderings of what I was going to have on the wall in my dispensary everywhere. And they are very, very, very detailed. Personally, I think that's great. That weeds out a lot of the competition, people that maybe shouldn't be in the industry or maybe aren't business sound. And if you're not business sound and you're good at something, partner with someone who is. If you have an asset that's good for the cannabis company, partner with someone who's got the other side of it. Make that work for you. You know, it takes both sides. There's very, very, very few are you ever going to find someone who's got all aspects of it, because guess what? cannabis has been illegal for a long, long time. And the guys who were really, really good at growing a lot of cannabis before this, they weren't doing it legally, right? So it's a different mindset. I'm only saying this because I started out legally. My first cultivation was 610 lights and 30,000 square feet in Arizona. And that was 8 years ago. So I'm very aware that there's a big shift in the industry when it comes to there. So the resource pool is small. Find the right people to connect with, and you can definitely make it happen. You're not going to find one person that does it all, though.
And that's in regards to the regulatory and licensing side, but to finish up your question is that the financial modeling, I've been doing a lot of financial modeling in regards to cultivation lately, and what I found is that just the build out itself, not to give away too much, secret sauce, $170 to $200 per square foot of build out. And and that's not including the equipment itself, rolling tables, lights, that includes all the MEPs, all the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. So it includes HVAC and as such, but it doesn't include any other, reusable, not reusable, but like nutrients, lighting, tables, and such. And then it all depends on state, right? And then the licensing itself, the cost, it all depends on if you want to, buy, a first generation license as a second generation or third generation owner. It all varies by state as well, depending on the availability of the licenses. Like, for example, Arizona, even though it was a lottery style, right now, all the licenses are going between 6 to 8 million without even calculating the revenues that it's producing already. Because it's, limited license. I think it's about, 126 licenses. Tickets, actually, because once you get an Arizona ticket, you can have a vertical license, cultivation, processing, kitchen, as well as a dispensary. So, it varies from state to state, but, to answer your question, $170 to $200 per square foot, excluding all the actual grow equipment that you need.
Thank you for that wealth of information. Do we have any other questions?